Hi, my name is Alvina Sahira. In this tutorial, I would like to show to you what is variable and Dynaform, why is that important in the process maker as a basic start, and also how to create it at the very first place. So basically, Dynaform is a platform to create form consisting a data that can be saved and also used in the process maker. Before creating a Dynaform, we must create a variable at first. And variables are used to store data in the Dynaform, so it contains a value of the data itself. Now let's practice creating variable. First, we go to the design or business model that we have, and then click variable and press create button. In the creating variable, we will name the variable and the data type. For example, here, we can fill the variable name with name and also the data type with string. For another kind of the variable, you can go to the page of 27 in the module to see what are the variables that we must produce. So after all of the variables is being set and determined, in this term, the variable can be defined as accepted variable values. So what does it mean? Basically, it means that the variable only store variables that have been defined. And to create it, enter a key for the number and a label for the name. Don't forget to press create. You could also define another variable values by, like editing the variable name. in the listed variables. Okay, right after finishing the variables, now we're going to create a Dynaform. You could simply press the Dynaform and click create and enter the title and also the description. For example, in this case is report form, and the description is to input the report of something. Okay, this is the menu interface, and you could simply use the tab bar right here, the web control to create the interface of the Dynaform, or if you want to manipulate it furthermore with different styles, you can use a code with JavaScript by clicking the properties, then hover and click it to the outermost box that you want to modify, and write your code in the left right here. So first thing first, we will create a form title. So we drag the the title, the H1 or H1 to an empty place, then change the name and the label properties. You can click the outermost box and change in the label column because it cannot be changed inside of the box itself. And we add subtitle here. Don't forget to click save every time you modify because we know that Process Maker is not a friendly user application. Okay, for your information, to make a blank space or a white box, you could add the text area. Okay, we are sorry to make it uncomfortable like this. because like process maker is always like this. Okay, before we go to the next step, we will divide the two blank spaces by double clicking this, and then on the closespan column we change the size into 6 and 6. Nah, it will produce two kinds of blank spaces. If you want to divide it into 3 parts, for example, you can fill it the size 444, or for the maximum divided space is up to size 12. Okay guys, we are sorry to make it uncomfortable because the load of the system. So don't forget to, save it every time you modify. And for the next, we will create a name column using the text area as the area for the user to write down the data. This pop-up appeared because, it is mandatory for us to select the variable that will be inserted inside of the text area itself. So FYI anyway, if we want to save the data of this kind of the process maker itself, we can connect it with the existing process maker database or SQL or any kind of databases platform. Okay, for the next requirements of the form, let's continue according to the module because it just makes up, Okay, right away we want to make invoice type with drop down. Okay, so drop down is used to choose the value or existing valuable variable. So default value is used if you want to have a default or automated field inside of the table itself. Okay, we can see the example of the default value. When you write Yusuf right here, then it will appear Yusuf by default in the preview of the form, like this. Oh yeah, if you want to see the interface of the Dynaform or how the Dynaform looks like, click I logo right here. Now we will create invoice date with date time in the web controls and choose the variable as always. And then we will create the same grid as the previous stage. That is drop down. By select the variable that has been created. And for the terms, we choose radio button. That there are options that we defined at the beginning as well as the invoice approve. While for the invoice type and invoice subtype, because they have not been defined yet, that's why the dropdown is empty. Oh yeah, basically later on the drop-down options will be in the next video about process maker tables. Okay, we add the subtitle right here. So it is basically like we just follow the step inside of the modules. Okay, in here we want to make a grid again. Change the name in the label column. And on this grid, we will enter the text box. But since we didn't make the ID before, so we make it manually instead. And you can see it in the module later on. In this text box, we can perform calculation operations. By entering the formula, we will create a total text box formula. Firstly, we can click the total box, then see the formula section on the left, and click edit and enter and stuff like that. So because it is a simple formula, so it could be handled by our logic. For example, 3.2, 3 multiple with 2, 6 divided by 2, and etc. Okay, as I told you before, it always have been an error mode inside of the process maker. So be careful and be patient. Okay. Well, after we create such kind of a simple formula, next we will create the multiplication of formula. Okay, let's take a look on the screen. And after that, don't forget to click save, and we can see the interface and also testing the formula right here. Okay, for the last step, we will create a button that we are gonna fill it with submit in the ID section. Okay, now if the require from requires an image or file upload and stuff like that, you can select it on the web control if that is required. Well, when it is all finished, don't forget to click save and close the process. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to follow the rules inside of the modules and don't hesitate to ask for an assistance.